Hey, if you're joining us on Facebook, you're at the right place. We are in the midst of Throne Room Voices, and I'm so delighted that you're joining us. As you know, we've been doing this pre-launch for the Redeem Your Voice Camp. It actually ends today at redeemyourvoice.com because something really exciting happens tomorrow at 4:44 p.m. We're opening the doors for the Kingdom Mentor Academy's Redeem Your Voice Camp. And listen, if you want to go over there and peek, it's okay. It's redeemyourvoice.com/open. Tomorrow we'll kick that off with a special interview. Actually, we'll do a voice camp and let you hear some testimonies of the past people in the voice camp. So we're excited about that. So without further ado, this is Throne Room Voices, my final one. Of course, I'm going to have someone from Australia. They're on a string here. I think I had 4 out of 6. Will you please help me welcome a dear friend of mine, Lisa Mason, former psychologist and amazing godmother to the body of Christ. Lisa, good to see you, girl.
It's not morning at your time, it's afternoon. Hello, everyone.
Yeah,
Hi,
but it's morning your time, so sometimes I wire my brain for Australia time. Anyway, so I have to.
Sure
Got so many friends there. So listen, Lisa,
Yep.
I kind of did this to Jody, not meaning to, but it was fun. So how you were on a blueprint call. Tell us how that came about, where we got to meet later than Jody. If you're wondering who I'm talking about, Jody Chadban, I interviewed her Thursday. So what was your journey with all of that?
It's a very interesting journey in that I don't remember how, but I started following you on Instagram.
Okay.
And a lot of the things that you were posting on Instagram, it must be like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, quite a while ago. Jody was in New York. She'd left for New York, and I flicked her some of your Instagram posts, and then she started to follow you. And then Jody was back here in Australia when I think you offered the blueprint calls, and she accepted and booked in for one, and then she was telling me all about it. She was really excited and telling me all about it, and that's when I went, oh, stuff this, that's what I need, and I booked in for a blueprint call. And I can remember after that I went across the other side of Australia to Perth to see my son, and I was doing, in the mornings I had a lot of time to myself, and every morning I was following the blueprint, and it really impacted on where I was at that point. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Yeah, I think I remember the blueprint, the action plan she's talking about is when you do a blueprint call, you get this 30-day action plan. And it's always neat. Not everyone comments about that, but Lisa was commenting about it. And then we just started emailing and talking, and next thing you know, there she is. I've got 2 amazing friends. I got more than that, but these are the 2 gems, in Lisa Mason and Jody Chadban. And I'll just say, Lisa's a former psychologist, but let me tell you, she has helped me tremendously. So can we talk about a little bit about trauma, a little bit about the drama, because so much in the Redeem Your Voice camp, we deal with that issue. But before I do that, I'm just going to ask you some personal questions. If you don't want to answer them, say, psst. So my question to you, with your journey as a psychologist, your journey as an amazing kingdom messenger, what are like your pressure points that you have to manage when it comes to your emotions?
When people start talking about violence and as though it's okay, when they start talking about women or marginalised populations in a derogatory, negative manner. When, there's stuff on TV or anywhere about domestic violence, sexual abuse, child sexual abuse, when I hear things about people being hurt and when we had the bushfires here and you've had the bushfires over there, like my heart aches. And so I know that that's the time I have to sit and go, okay, God, I know that I can't go and fix all of this, but you just keep me walking where you need me to walk. And I have very strong reactions when people are just basically condoning violence and abuse. And these days I often walk away, because to respond in anger or to flip is not helpful, and it won't help change them. If you can stay calm and challenge them around their attitudes and beliefs, then that has a much more powerful impact. If I can't do that, I just remove myself. And my husband knows that. He knows that I'll just remove myself. My whole family, my children know that.
So it's like you've got a real prophetic gift, and on your prophetic gift side, we call them feelers. So you feel things deep down. I know I'm a feeler too. And this past Saturday, Dave and I were asked to go to this conference, kind of like, and we were asked to prophesy after, and we did like for 3 hours on the concrete, and one after another. And then I started feeling pressure, Lisa, and then I started feeling the areas of where pressure affects my body. And finally it was toward the end, and I heard God say, Teresa, don't carry what you've heard. I mean, we're only calling out the gold, but you can know and feel. So I can really relate. And it was great. I mean, beautiful people got to call out the gold in them and speak life over them. There's nothing, that's just one of the greatest things. And I was really glad Dave was in his place, because he was soaking wet in the back, but I could just nestle in there and knew when I was time to speak or not. But I just, man, I got home and I crashed. I was like, what is it? So I think it's that feeler gift you have too, where you feel and you get angry. And I'm sure 35 years of dealing with people in those trauma situations has given you an insight to really have a strong stance on that, and to have to guard your emotions with that. Is that not true?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can remember, as all my family tell the story of, as a 2-year-old in Justice, I have always stepped up around, like they said, I was 2 and stepping up to these teenagers who were picking on someone and telling them to go and leave them alone. And it is injustice. It just is I call them buttons, You have these buttons that when they get pressed and rubbed, it's like, whoosh, and you have to be mindful of how you respond when your buttons get pushed, get rubbed, get touched. You've just got to really manage yourself. And I think that's true for everyone in many situations. I'm writing a package with my two pastors from my church on loss and grief. And it is, part of it is when we're grieving the pain, our pain is massive. But again, and it's easy to, just to react and not respond when you're in so much pain. But for ourselves, the outcome for ourselves is much better, obviously, if we can not react but respond. And that's easier said than done. Much easier said than done. But to me, it's like, if you respond, then you're showing the love of Jesus.
That's good. Wow.
When we react, that can get messed up. I react, like we all do at times. We all react. We all don't.
We talk a lot about that in Redeem Your Voice Camp, Lisa, as you know, just trying to teach the members there who have invested in themselves to you can react. If you're reacting, you're reacting out of your flesh. But if you respond, you can respond and take authority over your emotions from your identity. Like she said, easier said than done. What is like when We talk a lot about when our emotions hijacked us. Let's say someone listening, they really can understand what we're talking about. They might be dealing with grief. They might be dealing with some domestic situations. They might be dealing with just a whole pandemic, yanking their chain on their emotions. What advice would you give them?
I think it's really important to regularly check in, and I call it do a body scan. So start at the top of your head and go through and check in what you're feeling in your body.
Wow.
And where you're feeling what, and also to check in what your thinking is, and then to take care of it.
Yeah.
You know, look, I love to walk. So, I'll walk. Okay. I love to listen to the birds. So I'll listen to the birds. I love, I wouldn't say I love gardening, but I love my garden.
Okay.
And so I'll go out there. Worship brings me into and that's not everyone, but for me, to worship is, I'll have worship music pumping and I'll be there, throughout my house.
That's so good. That's so good.
Everyone's a bit different, but it's about taking care of your emotional state. Some people like to have a hot bath. Some people like to rub cream into their hands. Some people like to talk to someone. Everyone's different, but it's about recognizing, so doing the scans, checking what you're thinking, and then it's also about being aware of what soothes you.
That's so good. It's
what
like
soothes it is. What soothes your emotional state? How do you nurture yourself?
I didn't understand that. In 93, I was single, getting up at 3:30 in the morning to go to work. I was at the radio station, and I had a neighbor, a friend of mine, and she was very expressive, and she'd get in my face and say, T, you just need to take a bubble bath. And I'm like, bubble bath. Now, years later, I realized what she was saying. That was her soul care, taking a bubble bath. So I had to find things. I think I talk about this in the blueprint. Taking a nap. I'm not as much of a nap person. Thank you, Jesus, for my health. Taking a nap, spending time with David and going out to dinner. I just love that. Or like what we're doing right now, having a cup of coffee, have a cup with a friend and just talk about God. I mean, even though Lisa in Australia, thank you for modern technology, whether Lisa or Jody, we've got Instagram video, we got Instagram posts, we got text, we got emails. So I just believe if you're intentional. But anyway, that's what would be my soul health. Now, you gave me such good advice a month or so ago when I was going through some issues. It's kind of like my doctor, guys. And you gave me this list of different things to do. Now, I like to walk. I'll be honest, I've succumbed to the Atlanta heat and haven't walked as much as I should have. But she had this list like cooking. Well, I'll get in the kitchen a little more. Dave's the cook and all these things. And then it hit me. I have always wanted to go hunting. So for the last month or so, I've had to go through this hunting safety class. And just the other day, my hunting license came in the mail and I was like, yay. Now I haven't hunted yet. Dave's son, Bubba's going to take me out. So that to me, though, was something different to trigger my brain. Excitement about something. Isn't that about right? I mean, that just is a major shift for me to help me as I go in my day in and day out. So that's example, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Wow.
And everyone's got different things, and we're all gifted differently.
Yeah.
And we're all, we all enjoy different things. That's how God's made us. And but if you don't have, you need to have the awareness of what's happening in you and what your thinking's doing, so that then you can make the choice to manage and to do something with that. And some people do that, or like that's part of how they're wired. You know,
Mhm.
it's part of just how they operate. Others of us have to be very conscious of it
Yeah. Yeah.
and very conscious of making, of you know, tuning into that. Yeah.
If I could say something that maybe will connect with someone, my past, I didn't manage my emotions well. I was a stuffer. And what I realized by the stuffing, I was not being who God made me to be. I was living on a desert island of, you know, drinking the wine of irresponsibility is the way I thought. I wasn't being real because of my emotions. So what happened is I went into this fear mode, totally,
Mm,
totally trying to control your emotions. You can't do that. Not
yeah.
facing reality, not being honest, not taking responsibility. Whew, to speak to that, because that
Yeah.
can be so real and you don't even realize you're doing it, friend. I mean, I know
Yeah.
for me, I'm unfroze, but you don't know you're doing that. And your children need you, your husband needs you, your wife needs you, not to be frozen, but to be alive, even if it gets a little messy, but be alive.
Yeah.
What would you say about that?
I think, like all of us at times, face situations where we are fearful, you
Yeah,
know,
sure.
and often, you know, fear, you know, we were made to fight or flight, you know, we were made to be able to defend ourselves or run away. It doesn't happen these days in situations, you know, where we're fearful. So where we're frightened, or you
Mhm.
know, something bad happens, or whatever that might be, and so we're left with all those hormones and chemicals in our body.
Yeah,
And so it's about making sure that when we are fearful, being aware of what it is,
right.
like again doing that scan, what's happening here.
Love that
some
picture.
Sometimes you know it's obvious, and other times it isn't obvious.
Wow.
um and so it's about taking the time to know what it
Yeah.
is, and it's about taking the time to do the things that you need to do to manage that. So like if you've been in a traumatic event, if something traumatic's happened to you, then your stress hormones are going to be going ballistic.
Whew,
They're,
tell me.
and and what happens is we don't get to do something physical to use them up,
Wow.
and therefore they stay at a higher level.
Okay.
And then the next time a little thing happens, it bumps us up again.
Okay.
And we slowly come down, and then something happens, like we drop the Vegemite. You don't have Vegemite, but we drop the peanut butter jar and it breaks, and that pops us up
Yeah.
again.
Wow.
Whereas that wouldn't normally pop us up. So it's about, when we've been through traumatic events, it's about, okay, making sure we do some physical exercise to
Yeah.
help drop those stress hormones.
Sure.
Don't don't smoke more, drink more coffee, drink more alcohol than
Yeah.
we normally do.
That's good.
If you don't feel like eating, try, you know, because often what can happen with that is that the stress hormones shut our digestion
Yeah, I'm
down.
that way. I stop eating.
Yeah. So it's about trying to, all right, uh, can I swallow a bit of yogurt? Can I
Yeah.
swallow some water? Can I swallow some juice? You know, but not resorting to things like caffeine,
Yeah.
nicotine,
So good.
alcohol, those sorts of things
Yeah.
to numb us out, because
So
that
good.
makes those reactions worse.
Okay. Wow.
That heightens that feeds it. Like caffeine just makes us more anxious and agitated, you
Yeah.
know. So it's just trying to keep those things normal. But
Yeah.
exercise is really important.
Yeah.
Being self-soothing is really important. Doing the things that soothe us,
That's soul care.
you know.
So good. I love that. I've never heard that. I mean, you're from a professional perspective. I mean, it's not like you're just talking, even though you do it for yourself, but this has helped your past
Yeah.
clients, and it's just beautiful. It's so easy. It's so easy to be able to take what you're saying and really, you know, like we're not just here for information, Lisa, you know this. We're here for transformation. Maybe one thing's going to click in someone and like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. I had a comment on the Facebook from Susan. She says she's having a real hard time of taking on things in regards to, we have our elections, we have, just like
Yeah.
you, the pandemic. How would you speak to that of taking on things?
I think there comes a time where we have to turn it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You take on what you need to know
Okay.
to do what you can and need to do and are called to do, and
Okay.
then you need to turn it off.
So good. Wow. That's
So
simple as that, isn't it?
yeah, I examples would be news reports or documentaries or current affairs reports on child sexual abuse. I turn off.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
watch them. I
intense.
remove
Yeah.
myself. The a lot of the pandemic reporting now, I don't watch because I know from a scientific point of view what I need to be doing to keep myself as safe and to help the community as best I can.
Yeah.
But I turn it off. As far as politics goes, I feel very powerless. I used to do lobbying and that around women's
did you?
issues, and
Yeah.
I was one of those. I was on the tail end of the original group, but I realise it's other people's, like it's the younger generation now. I can come alongside and support. It's like later this morning, in an hour or so, I'm meeting a young woman who's very passionate in justice. So I can walk alongside her,
Yeah.
but I don't take that on. So my suggestion is you turn it off.
Yeah, that's good.
You don't sit there watching it. You don't sit there listening to all the things about your elections. And do you know what I mean?
It's
You
brutal.
time out.
We do that. We watch a little bit, and then Dave will say, "I can't take anymore."
No, you turn it off.
But I really appreciate what you're saying. You said something really key. You're meeting in about an hour with a young lady who's very passionate. So you're being what Lisa Bevere came out with this book called Grandmothers. Anyone who's watched me at all, I'm mentioning it all the time because I really believe there's a call for us older ones to rally and come alongside the young ones, speak life, speak kingdom, love, 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 teach them how to steward their emotions, honor others. And it's beautiful. I'm so excited to hear you say that. And I know you've done that for a lot of families. You have like spiritual sons and Stuart, and you're close to the Chadban family. And I just love, Lisa, how God has let you live life, but yet you have really learned to spill it out onto others. And it's so beautiful. I mean, myself included. Thank you for being passionate, but walking in your lane. That's what you do. You stay in your own lane. That's so beautiful.
God's been very good to me. He is a very, very good God. And
so beautiful.
He's blessed me.
Yeah.
And in many, many, many ways.
That's awesome.
Earlier this year, my dad passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
He was very elderly, but how he passed away was horrific.
I'm so sorry.
It should not have happened that way.
Right.
But you know what I really, really learned is, and this is something I want everyone to listen and take on, is that every step I took, I would just say, Jesus, stay with me, stay with me, walk with me. This pain, I said, the pain, please help me with my pain.
Wow.
Jesus, please, please, please walk with me. This guilt I feel, please, Jesus, I know guilt isn't of you. Please help me to manage this. And do you know, he showed me that actually when we do that, he shows up. He's there. And it's us that, if we don't think he's there, it's about us. It's not that he's not there. He's there.
Wow.
He's always there.
Say that again. When we
feel like God isn't with us, that isn't that God isn't with us. That's that we're not looking at him.
Okay.
It's about turn your eyes upon Jesus,
Yeah.
and the things of the world fade away.
Phew, that's so good. Mm.
And that is exactly what he blesses us with.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a lesson that he taught me,
Wow.
and such a part of what he wants me to speak out,
Yeah.
is that make sure you keep calling him.
Mm.
It's like, look, I pray all day, every day, because I don't have a special, this is, I'm going to pray. I talk to God
So
all
good.
the time.
Come on.
And, you know, I'm walking the streets waiting for my car to be serviced yesterday. I talk to him. God, is this what I should be doing? Is this okay? What's that there? Yeah, rightio. Yeah, blah 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 blah. How's that? You know, right.
I love it.
I just talk, and for me, that's how I pray.
So beautiful.
And when I'm in pain,
Yeah.
I call him.
Yeah.
And you know, like, there are times he tells me, Lisa, you make sure you keep your mouth shut. You're hurting.
Wow.
You keep your mouth shut.
Wow.
I don't care what's said to you. You keep your mouth shut.
Wow. That's so good.
Because I listen.
You listened as well as talk. Yeah. Wow.
You know.
There was a bird chirping. I just want you to know. I mean, it's the evening here, and so that bird's going, yeah, go Lisa.
Mhm.
I'll send her
The birds are
little
awesome.
videos of just the birds chirping.
Yep.
So
I love out on the front porch where your birds just sing to you.
yes, that's our
It's
porch
beautiful.
where we sit
Yep.
and pray. Hey, I got one
Yep.
final question for you. What's in the future? You've got some opportunities. You guys got a vineyard. Is this cool? They have a vineyard. That's just cool. Which, of course, God's going to lead me to friends who have a vineyard. But anyway, so what's kind of like on your plate ahead? And you're making this transition, and in the midst of your transition, you lose your father. So this could be a real painful time, but I see you walking with joy, looking for how God's going to show up. So how's God showing up with what?
It's very interesting. The day the last rose petal fell off a plant, my only rose plant, which is extremely significant, and I can't go into that. It will take too long. But that morning I got a phone call asking me to basically, let's do these packages for, you know, we're doing one on loss and grief. We're doing one on trauma. We're looking at preaching, so writing workshops on it, and then doing preaching on it, and maybe writing books on them. I've always known God. I've always taught as well as been a clinician. I've worked at the unis and and also at the TAFE colleges here, the technical colleges. So, and I've also, when I worked at sexual assault, written a lot of the training packages there as well. So God's always told me I would be doing this, getting people to look past the external of what they see and understand what's happening for people. So I'm doing that. I'm doing some unpaid work within the vineyards, which I love, looking at staffing and coaching and things like that. And doing some mentoring just with young people, and also being able to spend time with my 1-year-old grandson, which is such a blessing. My little man, my Harvey man.
Goodness, so cool.
So there's just so many doors God's opened, and he opened them all on the one day. The rose petal fell, and within an hour, all these things have gone boom, 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 boom.
So cool. So awesome.
Yeah.
You said, but before we went live, you're like, I've never been so busy. I'm retired, but boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
Wow. Well, Lisa, thank you so much. And, you know, you are a voice. I know we interviewed you a while back for a 2-part series for trauma. If anyone wants to know more details about that, let me know. It's part of the Redeem Your Voice camp. But I just think that you're a voice, a mature voice for hope. when we fall off the tightrope of our emotions, for when out of nowhere we're slammed with events that we just went,
Yeah.
no. And I just thank you that you're willing to pray and hold people in your heart, and you're willing to speak out. So, and spend time like with this young lady. I can't thank you enough for being such a great example of all of that.
God brings me so much joy
Yeah.
and blesses me.
Yes.
Like he truly, truly does. And it's, it's a privilege to be able to do these things,
Thank you.
and to do what he calls and
Yeah.
asks, you know.
I'm going to ask you a doctor question. How important is it for young people, young ladies of all and men, to invest in something like the Redeem Your Voice Camp, the Kingdom Mentor Academy? I know you're familiar with it because you've been a guest and you've been away, kind of been a part of it. But how important is it? Would you speak that the importance of investing in yourself?
I think it's really important to invest in yourself, and I think it's really important to give value to that. Like, we give value to investing in other people, but we often don't give value to investing in ourselves. And I think it's very important that we invest in ourselves. And I think it's very important that young people have mentors. You know, in the day where we lived in villages, young people had the whole village as their mentor and their guide, you know. And if they started to wander away, people had come alongside them, different people. In our current society structure, it's not the village anymore. So it's got to be more purposeful, I think, in some ways, you know.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that.
And so I think it's very important that we mentor and guide and see, not only is it valuable for us to invest in ourselves, but valuable for us to invest in young people and in others.
Yeah, it's good.
But again, you've got to keep good boundaries when you do that.
Sure, no doubt. And investing in yourself is actually a kingdom principle that you don't have to feel guilty about. And then it could be that one area of soul care that you're taking care of yourself. It's like, okay, I'm going to join, I'm going to listen to others who have walked through it and learn from them, godmothers. So thank you for saying that. Well, this has been so much fun, having a cuppa with Lisa Mason from Australia. God bless you. And thank you for investing your time to bless others and be a part of the throne room voices. I really appreciate it, Lisa. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And those of you, the Kingdom Mentor Academy with Redeem Your Voice Camp is opening. Some of you may be watching this and it's opened already. That's redeemyourvoice.com/open. If you want to get in on the pre-launch, it's a 3-part series all about your soul care, finding your voice when your emotions are screaming, shut up. I'd love you to take part of that. That's redeemyourvoice.com. If you're ready to jump on board, then check us out at redeemyourvoice.com/open. So we'll talk to you in the next video, and you know it, we really do love you.